Yo, once again, it's on. Back at you one more again, Real Kens TV in the house like motherfucking kitchen sinks. So I'm pondering as I often do, and I'm thinking about a situation that happened back in 2014. I'm going to tell you all about two situations, but this particular one occurred in 2014. Now, before I get started, I'm the self-proclaimed Mr. 30 Minutes or Better. Meaning that all my videos, all my stories are guaranteed to be 30 minutes or better. So if you're on your way to work, you're at work, you're having a bad day, they're getting on your nerves at work, you're on your way home from work, perhaps you need to cry, perhaps you need to laugh, you're trying to take a nap, you're trying to go to sleep at night, depending on whatever time you see or hear this video, whatever the case may be, it's the channel for you. Now, with that being said, there is a message. There is a message this afternoon, and it could be somewhat of a tearjerker, but whatever the case may be, it's reality. Now, I would implore, I can't make anyone do anything, obviously, but I would implore any of you all that have kids, younger kids, or if you're close with your niece and nephews or whatever, scenario that it may be as far as younger kids, I would suggest that you make them set the iPads down, the cell phones, the video games, and take a few minutes out of their day to listen to this story. Now, before I get into the story, just let me say that these individuals that I'm mentioning, I won't use their real names because although one was convicted, one was acquitted, he is an appeals process, So just because you get convicted of something doesn't necessarily mean that you actually did it. So I'm not going to use the name. As I mentioned, in 2014, you got a young couple. You got Jonathan Price, Megan Price. Hadn't been married very long. Believe they were just celebrating their wedding anniversary, and it was Megan's birthday. So they decided, you know what, we're going to go out and celebrate. We can have some fun. He was in town because, once you go to the Marines, or any sort of, the Armory, the Army, the Air Force, the Navy, wherever you may go, you're going to be gone for several months, sometimes years before you're able to come back home and visit. So the two young, the young couple, very much in love, newly married, they decide to go out, as I mentioned. They go out, they have a good time. They go to a bar. Doing what you do on your birthday, just celebrate. Not only just celebrating your birthday, but just celebrating life. Celebrating us. So as I tell this story, I would implore you all to visualize this in your mind. Act as though this is your wife, your husband, and put yourself in that situation that they were in. As the night goes on, they decide, you know what, we're going to, get on out of here. We're going to take it home. We're going to celebrate the rest of the evening, morning, if you will. They leave out of the bar. And as they're leaving out of the bar, Megan, the wife, she sees a gentleman approaching her, and he has a gun. He points the gun at her. The other individual, he comes kind of out of nowhere. He points the gun at the husband. Give me everything. Get it out. Well, she has a wedding ring. And she has $60 in cash on her. $60. The husband, he doesn't carry cash. Most people don't even carry cash these days, so I really don't understand. Well, before I get too far ahead of myself, I'll go ahead and, finish the story. From what she testified, No one really offered any real resistance. Don't hurt me. Don't hurt my wife. You know, this is what we have. For whatever reason, one of the robbers, bow, shoots the husband, the Marine. He immediately goes down. The wife is so distraught, Megan. She's so distraught and concerned about her husband after giving up the $60 that she had. She didn't even realize that she had been shot. The robbers run off. She frantically calls 911. And when they played the 911 tape in court, it wasn't a dry eye in the house. So you say, Real Kens, were you at court? No, I wasn't at court, but I have looked up all of this information. And I'm leaving a link to this story in the comment section. And if you choose to, do your own investigating, then have at it. So I've heard the 911 tape when she called. And again, put yourself in this situation. How would you sound when you call 911? Your husband's laying there. He just been shot by two dudes for no reason. You all gave him what you had on you, but evidently that wasn't enough. She's frantic. Please, she's begging God, please, anybody, somebody, please help me. My husband has been shot. Please get the ambulance here, 911 immediately. Please, I'm begging you. Please, my husband is laying here on the ground. Baby, please don't leave me. I love you. I need you. Do not leave me, baby. Stay with me, please. 911 gets there. There's nothing that they can do. He's already gone. A night that was supposed to be a night of celebration turned into a night of tragedy. A night that I'm quite sure that Megan will never, ever forget the rest of her life. Megan's life was spared that night. Although she did have to be in a wheelchair for 7 weeks after that. I would imagine that her being in that wheelchair for 7 weeks was nothing compared to the scars that she has to live with for the rest of her life. Now, I'm not sure if the couple had kids or not, but if they did have kids, guess what? She's left with the burden of explaining to their child or their children, Daddy will never be home again. Kids are young. They don't understand. Why, Mommy? Where's Daddy? He doesn't love us anymore. He doesn't. So you have to explain this to a child. So even if they didn't have kids, that was the love of her life. They would never have an opportunity to have kids ever. All because you have two individuals that want to, even though one was convicted, so I'm going to just say one individual and the other one was acquitted. And again, he is in appeals. You have an individual that he didn't want to work for his money. He didn't want to go earn it. Nah, he wanted to take. See, that's the problem with the younger generation that we're having. And I'm not speaking of all young people. Heck, it's not even just young people. Some people just want to take. They don't even want to hustle. Some people, okay, if you're breaking the law, and I'm not condoning breaking the law, but if you're breaking the law, some people are at least not hurting anyone. When I did my thing, I was no better than nobody else. The 3 trips that I've had to the penitentiary, I never hurt a soul. Again, I'm no better than no one else. But I made sure that what I did was, I'm not hurting anybody. I'm not doing anything to any kids. I'm not doing anything to any elderly people. But you got these individuals that are violent. They pop these pills. They get drunk. And oftentimes not giving them an excuse. They're not even in their right frame of mind. Some people don't even recall what they've done. They wake up in jail and it's like, whoa, how did I get here? What happened? What did I do? Murder? I ain't murder nobody. See, when you put yourself in that situation, as far as getting high, you put the public, you put the people that are around you at great risk. Guns, drugs, it's not a good mixture. So eventually these two individuals, they were pointed out. They were on cameras, surveillance cameras, any and everywhere you go. Even though this was 2014, technology was still, pretty intense during those times. Prosecution, detectives, they work together. They're able to see these individuals, and they bring them in for questioning to later arrest them. Both had alibis where they were at that night, but apparently the detectives, they weren't buying that because they were arrested and charged. Prior to this evening, it's alleged that these individuals have been on somewhat of a, let me adjust my ascot. It's my ascot. So if you see me doing this, I'm just trying to keep my logo covered up. Yeah, I wear my ascot on the outside of my shirt. But it's alleged that these individuals, actually they were convicted of it. That they had went on a string of robberies. They was robbing everybody in the city. And so they were already, I guess, how do you put it? What's the police terminology of persons of interest? And so when they go to trial, one of the individuals, he gets acquitted. The other individual, they can't come up with a verdict. But I'm going to tell you how the system operates. One's acquitted, the other one's basically a hung jury. But they are convicted of several other robbery charges that didn't have anything to do with this unforeseen incident that happened that night. One is, the jury recommends, I believe, 60 years. And the other one gets 50 years. Now, that's not a regular 50 or 60 years. They're not doing, 5 or 6 years and then they have a chance to go up for parole. No. Robbery, these are violent robberies, which means they're going to do 85% of their time. State of Kentucky, the most time that you can do is 20 years before you go up for parole. So even though they got 50 and 60 years, they'll do 20 years and then have an opportunity to go up for parole. Which in one of the robber situations, alleged robber situation, he'll go for parole in another 10 years because that'll make 20 years of incarceration for him. The individual that got the hung jury, I believe he was sentenced to 60 years. But no, that's not enough. No, the family needs justice. The prosecution, they need justice. They retry him again. They take him back to court. Start the whole process all over again. You in the penitentiary, we're going to bring you back to the county jail, and you're going to go through this process all over again. Recharging, goes through the entire criminal proceedings or what have you, goes to trial. This time, I believe it was in 2020, the jury comes back guilty of all counts. I know that it was murder, intentional murder, robbery, and what other charges that pursued that night. Those are the least of his worries. The smaller charges, those are the least of his worries. The robbery and murder, life without parole. The jury actually spared his life because it was a death penalty case. You had an individual named Ray Larson, man. And for years, he was the Commonwealth attorney. Now, although I don't believe he was the actual Commonwealth attorney that presided over this case, he still had a whole lot of influence. Now, he's since passed on, but he definitely had a whole lot of influence. And if it was up to Ray Larson, both of those gentlemen definitely would have been given the death penalty. So look at all the lives that are lost. You have the Marine. You have his wife. Her life will never be the same. How can she ever go on? Not to say that she hasn't. I don't know her. Not to say that she can't. But again, put yourself in them shoes, in their shoes. How do you ever rebound from that? Then you have the two individuals that have basically just thrown their lives away. What's so crazy? That Marine will never ever see his wife again. But one of the alleged robbers, attackers, he'll get out again. 50 years, you do 20 years, see the parole board, they're not going to let you go the first time. They may make you serve another 10, 15 years, but he'll get out again. And he'll have somewhat of a chance at life. The other individual that got life without parole, he's in the appeals process, as I've mentioned several times. Who's to say that his case won't be overturned? Who's to say that he won't end up getting a new trial and beating that in court? In which, if he's proven to have not been the individual that did it, he should get his case overturned. But that's only if he's the individual that wasn't responsible for this heinous act. I never have understood why people, like, I understand the concept of robbing people. I don't agree with it. But we live in a microwave society. People want it now. I'm going to go hit a lick. So I understand the concept of trying to get fast money. Again, I just don't agree with it. And then when you mix in the violence with it, what did that couple do so bad to where they both had to be shot? I'm quite sure that there are many days that Megan probably wishes that she had gone along with the husband. After all, what's life without my family? What's life without the love of my life? Probably look forward to this night, to this weekend, for several weeks leading up to it. Not having a clue that this will be the last night that I ever see my husband. Quite naturally, if you know that, you're just not going to go. You got to love people, cherish people. Don't take it for granted that you're just going to see this individual tomorrow or later on. Because anything can happen at any given time. You got some wackos out here that just don't respect life. So they did something so bad by going out celebrating their marriage, their love, their life together, her birthday, to where you had to shoot the dude in the head, man, and then shoot her. What did they do to deserve that? There's nothing that you can do to ever deserve that. I don't know what was going on in these guys' heads in their mind. I would imagine that they're thinking, okay, listen, we just trying to hit a lick. We trying to get high. We trying to, not saying that they were, but if you're out just robbing people randomly, you're doing it for a reason. Yeah, you're doing it for money, but there's a reason that you're doing these things. And when you rob regular civilians, it's not like you robbing a dope man that could potentially have a lot of cash on him. You're robbing average, everyday people. People don't carry cash like that. If you were going to rob them, which, again, I don't condone it, just get what you can get and leave. Leave. Be gone. Be gone. Why do you have to shoot somebody? And I have to watch my choice of words on here because YouTube is very, very sensitive when it comes to our videos. See, you can post anything on YouTube, all type of things on YouTube, but when it comes to content creators, we really, really have to watch what we say. All of a sudden, it's about a family, it's an integrity, it's But hey, what can I do? Yeah, another situation. And this is really what the young people need to hear. They needed to hear that just as well. But you got another situation that occurred. And rest in peace to Jonathan Price, Megan Price, praying for your family. Wish that situation never occurred. And it's just a sad, unfortunate, unforeseen, unnecessary situation. The youngsters need to hear this. You got 4 teenagers. 3 of them's 18 years old. 1 of them's 15. They're hanging out one night, having a good time, just doing what teens do. They decide, man, we need some money. How can we get some money? I mean, it's not going to just fall out of the sky. It's not like we can just, like, how are we going to come up on this money? They decide, you know what? Rob a pizza man. Yeah, we robbed a pizza man. They keep money on. That is a teenage mentality. Teenagers not even understanding that delivery drivers, pizza drivers, or whatever you want to refer, DoorDash, Uber, they don't really carry a whole lot of cash. $15, $20. $30 maybe at most. They don't keep a whole lot of cash, because once you reach a certain amount of cash, you have to turn that in at the store. But it sounds good in their mind. Remember, they're 18, and 15. Rob the pizza man. Pizza man comes along. Dude gets out of the car. He's walking up to the house. A couple of them jump out of the bushes. They attack him. But he's a grown man. You know, he's 6 foot, 200 pounds or better or whatever. So he's fighting off the youngsters, kind of tossing them around or what have you. One of them comes out of the blue, bam, blasted out of the blue. The other ones didn't even know that this youngster was going to do that. They take the pizza, they gone. Dude is left there basically to pass away. Nobody to help him. Now, you had neighbors that heard the shots. They seen people running away, but they didn't know exactly who did it. Ambulance comes, get him to the hospital. Nothing he can do. Nothing they can do. He's gone. I believe he had 2 young daughters. They were young. 3 years old, 4 years old. They're up waiting for daddy to come in. Daddy's not coming in tonight. Daddy's not coming in tomorrow night. Daddy's not coming in no night, because you got 4 young teenagers that decide they need a pizza so bad that they're willing to unalive an individual for this pizza. They take the pizza, as I mentioned, and they run off. Problem is with that, there's several problems with that. But the main thing is, now this is embedded in their minds. Anytime we need something, shoot, the only thing we got to do is call the pizza man, or we can just rob somebody and we can get this money. I don't even believe they got any money. They got a pizza. They got however many pizzas that were ordered. So they ate well that night. Not even entertaining the notion that somebody had just been unalived. A couple weeks later, same scenario. They need some money. But this time, they don't do the pizza thing. Nah, they catch a taxi cab driver. Youngsters, pay attention to this. They catch a taxi cab driver. They don't call, they just catch him. They go up to him, get the money out. I don't have any money. This is all I got. A few dollars that he had. He don't have much money. He's arguing. He's trying to get away. Not really arguing, but he's trying to get away. He's pleading. Please, youngsters, this is not worth it. Just let me go, man. Let me go home to my family. Shut up. Bow. Another one. Ambulance comes. Nothing they can do. I believe dude was like 54, 55 years old. Had been married 35 years. Been with the same woman all those years. She's calling. No answer. She can't reach her husband. That's not like him to not call right back. A few hours later, his car is discovered. They realize who it is, with his wallet. And now the teenagers actually took his wallet. So I actually take that part back as far as they realize who he is through his wallet. But the company discovers who it is, through the actual cab car. And obviously they know who was driving the car. And then the word gets back to the wife and, family and things of that nature. Again, a senseless situation that didn't have to happen. Surveillance is everywhere. Understand this. We're in 2024, about to be 2025. Surveillance is everywhere. You take your phone with you, guess what? That's essentially a tracker. They can always find out where you were, what time you were there, just based on your phone. Not to mention all these cameras in the sky. People got Ring doorbells. Businesses have Ring doorbells. Anything you do, you will be on somebody's camera. So it's best to just do the right thing simply because it's the right thing to do. So now you got 4 teenagers. They're all in the custody. They're kids. They get to crying. I want to go home. I didn't mean it. It wasn't my idea. I'm not the one that shot. I was just there. We were just trying to get some, we were just trying to get some money. We were just trying to get some pizza. Because, those detectives, they far from stupid. They think we're stupid. And most of the time, people that go in the interrogation room, they are stupid. Not say that respectfully. They may not literally be stupid, but the best thing to say when you go into an interrogation room is, I need to talk to my attorney, period. Nothing else. I wasn't there. I don't know nothing. Nah, don't say nothing. I need to talk to my attorney. That's your right. It's your amendment right. And so, the teenagers, obviously, they get to talking and pointing the finger at each other, whatever. They're not even realizing that just because you're not the one that pulled the trigger, that doesn't make you any less responsible. You were there. You took part in this. You planned to rob somebody in the commission of a felony. If somebody loses their life, guess what? You're held just as responsible. So the jury and the family, they don't want to hear all that. Well, I'm not the one that did it. Please, I'm sorry. I want to go home to my family, my mother. Well, what about the individual that you didn't allow to go home to his family? See, it's all fun and games when you're sitting around like, oh, look, man, we're going to get some money. All we got to do is when he comes out, you hold the gun up to him. I check his pockets. You the lookout person, or you the getaway driver. Nobody's going to get hurt. It's going to be all good, man. We're going to get this money, and then we're going to go and do this and go and do that. Yes, all good. It's fun and games then. But as I so often mention, plans rarely go accordingly. Think about your life. Whose life goes exactly the way that they planned it to go? Now, you may ultimately get to that level, that success level that you want to get to. But who went from point A to point B in a straight line? That's the easiest way in life to go, is a straight line. But how many people actually do it? Kids, there's so many scenarios to where people have gone on these robberies and these escapades, and they watching these movies and they listen to this rap music and this drill music, and understand that's entertainment. That's not real. These dudes are not real. They're not really living like that. They want you to think that because they're selling themselves. They want you to buy their music. They want you to buy their, products or their, merchandise or whatever that they have. Movies, video, but they are not living like this. When you get to popping pills, perks, and Xannies and bars and all of that stuff, you're not in your right frame of mind. And so you will find yourself doing some things, or at least thinking about some things that you would never even consider had you not taken those pills, had you not, fooled with those drugs. The penitentiary is full of individuals, young people, some old, started out young, just older now. Walking that loop that I always speak of, the track, essentially it's a track, but everybody walks the loop in prison. Thinking about the things that they've done. If they have another opportunity at life, what they're going to do when they get out. Wishing that they hadn't, if they had just listened to their girl, if they had just listened to their mother that was trying to tell them to stay home. Don't hang with this person. Don't go to this place. I don't have a good feeling. See, parents tell you stuff for a reason. Parents, we didn't just fall out of the sky and just grab a manual, a handbook, and say, hold on, let's see how to handle this situation. Let's see how to be a parent today. Let's see what to do when a child is rebellious. Let's see what to do when a child is hanging with the wrong person. Let's see what to do when a child doesn't want to listen to me. No, you got to listen to your parents. You might not always agree with your parents. I get it. But your parents love you, and they only want the best for you. Just imagine your parents are not out here like, when they tell you no, you can't go to that party. Man, it sucks, man. My parents, man, they don't let me do anything, man. Don't sneak out of that window. Don't sneak out of that window and go anyway. Or make up a lie, or just be outright rebellious and disrespectful and just walk out of the door and go. Because there's a reason. I told a story not long ago about a young lady, rest in peace, that snuck out of the window at night. My daughter at the time used to go and spend the night over there. I used to drop my daughter off to spend the night with this little girl. And I'm quite sure, I don't know, but I wouldn't, maybe they did, maybe they didn't all the time. I never really asked my daughter, did they sneak out? I used to sneak out when I was younger. But it was different times then. It wasn't nearly as dangerous. And that's not right, don't get me wrong. But I would sneak out and we just hanging out playing video games. We didn't drink, we didn't smoke, we definitely didn't pop no pills. We wasn't out here wilding out. Kids wasn't getting shot. Totally different time now. Bullets have no eyes. Bullets have no eyes. So just because you didn't do anything. So I notice now that the young people, one of their favorite things to say is, I ain't do nothing. I ain't do nothing. All young people, I ain't do nothing. But you don't have to do anything. So this young lady that snuck out in the middle of the night, she come from great parents, but her parents didn't know that she snuck out. People want to be so quick to say, I blame the parents. It's not always the parents' fault. You can raise the child, you can church and, teaching them to be respectful and activities, sports or whatever, they get good grades or what have you. But at some point, it stops being the parents' fault. At some point. This young lady snuck out and never made it back home. She's at a restaurant, fast food restaurant, which I don't even know how it's even still open because there's been so many killings and so many people get, shot there. But I guess the powers to be must own that restaurant because it's definitely not shut down. It's not closed down. But nevertheless, she never made it home. Dudes was beefing. Young people going back and forth, blasting at each other. She's at the counter ordering her food. Had nothing to do with their situation. She's hit. Gone. Instantly. Gone. My daughter could have been with her. Your daughter could have been with her. Anybody's daughter could have been with her. Young people, listen to your parents. They tell you no, they're telling you no for a reason. And you'll never understand it until you get older and you start to have kids. And then it's, wow. I know why mom said this. I know why dad said that. Nobody's trying to be mean to you. It's just that We know. We know what you all think that you know. We've been around. We have so much experience in life longer than you've even been on this earth. Don't put your parents through that heartache, that grief. Stay in school, do the right thing, and be respectful. I don't know the individual's name, and I can look that up actually. I didn't post a link below, but I don't know the individual's name as far as the taxi cab driver. But I do pray for his family just as well. And I just hope that these things, these senseless things that don't have to happen, just don't happen. Now, I understand that's wishful thinking because you're always going to have people that's going to go out here and do this and do that. But that's the reason that I make these videos. This is the reason why when I tell these stories, I tell jail stories, but I don't just tell prison stories. I tell stories that every day people can relate to. Tragedy. It's a tragedy. RIP to everybody that's lost somebody, man. Real Kens TV. Hopefully you like the video. Feel free to comment. Definitely share. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. Be sure to hit that post notification. So anytime I bring you this action and this heat, guess what? You're amongst the first to receive. People are saying they're not getting my post notifications. I don't know what the situation is. I don't know what the deal is. Just check my channel. Check me out every day. I drop a video. Every other day, check the channel. I got something new on here for you. Some new heat, some new action. Also, interact with me. You know, send comments throughout the video. Let me know that you're there. I'll talk back. You see what I'm saying? I'll talk back. I respond to comments. Hit that like button for me. Or hit the dislike button. Whatever the case may be. This is the way engaging with your audience. This is the way that you're actually able to grow your channel. Because YouTube sees that, oh, he has interaction with his audience. Here, let's push his video out a little bit more. Okay, we may have pushed it to 30,000 people, but he has a whole lot of engagement. Here, let's push this out to another 30,000. And then they have engagement. Let's push it out to 100,000. Let's push it out to 200,000. There's millions of people on YouTube. Hundreds of millions of viewers. So that's how you get your channel out there. It only takes a couple seconds. Kens, you suck. That's cool. Real Kens TV.